Welcome back to another episode of Just Podding Around. I'm your host, Race Williams, and today, wrestling fans, we're going to settle up and talk about some legends. Before the NWO, before DX, before the Bloodline, there was one group that redefined what it meant to be elite in professional wrestling. They were slick, they were stylish, and they were absolutely ruthless. I'm talking about the Four Horsemen. It all started back in 1985 under Jim Crockett Promotions, what would later become WCW. You had Ric Flair, the Nature Boy himself, rocking the world title and more sequins than an Elvis impersonator convention. Then there was Arn Anderson, the Enforcer, quiet, stoic, and built like a brick wall. Ollie Anderson, the old school tag team bruiser, and Tully Blanchard, slick, arrogant, and dangerous. They were managed by J.J. Dillon, and together they became the wrestling equivalent of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Arn Anderson dropped the line during a promo, "You're looking at the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse," and boom, just like that, history was made. From 1986 to 1988, these guys ran the NWA like a mafia family. Flair had the world title locked down, Arn and Tully ran the tag division, and every babyface in the company had a target on the back. They weren't just champions, they were untouchable. The suits, the limos, the women, the swagger, they lived the gimmick 24/7, and that made fans hate them even more. Their feuds with Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, and the Road Warriors, straight up classics. And when Barry Windham replaced Ollie Anderson, man, the group leveled up even further. Windham was smooth, technical, and could hang with anyone. That lineup was untouchable. When the NWA transitioned into WCW, the Horsemen evolved too, but the magic started to fade. He had Sting briefly aligning with them before they turned on him, because let's be honest, betrayal was basically their love language. Then came Sid Vicious and Paul Roma, which, not exactly iconic Horseman material. Flair held things together, but WCW's booking got messy, and the Horsemen lost their aura for a while. Then came the mid-90s, the wrestling boom. The Horsemen came riding back in, this time with a mix of old school grit and new blood. You had Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Brian Pillman, and Chris Benoit. And later, Steve Mongo McMichael and Dean Malenko joined the mix. This version tried to keep the tradition alive in changing wrestling world dominated by the NWA. They weren't the top dogs anymore, but they still had the heart of the old school WCW. They were still the heart of the old school WCW spirit. And who could forget Arn Anderson's 1997 retirement promo, when he said he was giving his spot to Kurt Hennig? That moment hit hard. Of course, Hennig turned on them a week later, because wrestling never lets you have nice things. When you talk about influence, the Four Horsemen are it. They created the very concept of a dominant, gold-hungry, arrogant faction. If you've ever watched Evolution, you've basically seen the modern Horseman blueprint. Flair, Triple H, Orton, Batista, same formula, new era. Every faction that flaunts power, success, and championship gold, they're echoing the Horsemen, whether they realise it or not. And that iconic hand gesture, 4 fingers held high, that's still one of wrestling's most recognisable symbols. In 2012, the Horsemen were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame with the lineup that defined them: Flair, Arn, Tully, Barry Windham, and J.J. Dillon. Deserved? Oh, absolutely. They weren't just wrestlers, they were culture. The suits, the swagger, the arrogance, the dominance. They made wrestling cool long before the NWA spray painted anything. The Four Horsemen were the standard. They didn't just dominate, they defined what dominance looked like. And even now, every time a new faction forms, fans still ask the question, are they the next Four Horsemen? That says it all. That's it for today's episode, folks. If you enjoyed this deep dive, give the show a follow, and drop a rating, and let me know which version of the Horseman was your favourite. And I'll catch you next time. And remember, whether it's limos, gold belts, or chaos in the locker room, the Horseman did it first.